Hey everyone, today we'll be learning about Istio and Service Mesh. Istio is a highly popular open source service mesh in cloud native world, which is responsible for setting up connection, managing and security amongst the different components of a microservice application. It was created back in 2016 by Google, IBM, and Lyft, which was responsible for the creation of Envoy proxies. If you don't know about Envoy proxies, then we'll be learning about them in this lecture today. Istio is built on top of Envoy, which helps in setting up the connection between the different components of your microservice application, along with providing various special features like canary deployment, A/B testing, and fault injection, and a lot more features, which we'll be learning about all of them today. Along with its architecture, that how does it works and what are the future goals of this service. And they're also holding an Istio Day on 19th April in Paris in KubeCon. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so we are on the official website of Istio. In short, Istio actually is a kind of tool which helps in taking care of the non-business logic of your application, so that the developers doesn't have to worry about setting up the connection between all the components of your application, and can focus on the core business idea and core business algorithm of your application, and helps in growing your project. So sorry for my handwriting if you find it bad. Right, so the general mechanism of cluster during deployment. Have in this example we have taken a UI microservice, which will be talking to two of our catalogs, catalog v1 and catalog v2, which will be talking to inventory. And there are certain requirements in our infrastructure that has to be fulfilled by the developers and all the engineers, in case you aren't taking help of service mesh, which includes the connectivity, security, observability, and control as well. So for connectivity, here we can split our whole traffic in 90% and 10% to the catalog v1 and catalog v2. This ratio can also be in various other forms, in various other digits, in whichever you decide. It is helpful in case we find any vulnerability in our system. At that time we can get rid of the problem side by side, and our customers can exercise all of the features which are present on our application. And also, in case we have launched a new update to our application, at that time also we can this traffic splitting can be very helpful, as at the time when a new update has launched, the feedback process haven't actually taken place that well. So we can split some traffic to our new application, to our new update of our application, and side by side we can get all the feedback from the customers. And then at the end, eventually, when all our new update version matches with the expectation of the customers, then at that time we can move the whole traffic to our new updated version. So in this way, our connectivity is actually being performed by the developers. Then comes the security. Security is a really important issue in our network, in our cluster, which is usually taken care by the mutual TLS. How did I tell it? TLS. Wait. Yeah. Now. Alright. So mutual TLS helps in encrypting our all the messages and all the requests that has been taken from one place to the another place, from one component to the another component in our structure. So in this way, our mutual TLS also takes place. Mutual TLS helps in setting up the security, so that any other third party won't be able to read our messages or any important data that has been provided by the user or by the application. Yeah. In case of observability, we usually get access to the whole observation. We usually have an observation that how the traffic is actually flowing in our whole infrastructure, and based on them we can update or change our logic of our application in this similar way. So observability is also done in that way. Coming to the control, we can set up various policies and rules which has to be taken place before a request actually goes and interact with the with any of our component of our structure of our cluster or pod. So in that case, our control is also being taken care by the network engineers. Also, the controlling part of our requirements in the infrastructure can also include that how much of the traffic would be forwarded to any particular component of our infrastructure, like the catalog v1 or catalog v2, and also it can handle the permissions, like the UI can only proceed with forwarding the HTTP GET request, and the catalog v1 and catalog v2 can only provide the HTTP post request to the inventory. So all these kind of features are also taken care, have to be taken care by the developers in setting up of their whole infrastructure. Like, it is the traditional mechanism for our infrastructure that before Service Mesh or the Istio came into power. Then afterwards we got this newer mechanism in which our EUI, in which our application used to have the sidecars, the various sidecars at the envoy proxies, which helps in communicating, which helps in setting up the communication between the different components of our infrastructure. And instead of directly accessing the particular component of our pod, we will be communicating with the envoy proxies, which will then take care of the request and have a check through all the policies that has been filed in or those envoy proxies, and then it will pass on that request to the catalog v1 or v2 or even the UI microservice or inventory or whichever component we have requested. So in this way the security is actually being assured in our structure. So at the end, instead of talking directly with the service mesh has created a network of envoy proxies, so that any request that has been passed or forwarded to a particular component of our application, that will first have to be passed through the envoy proxy, which will run a check through the request, and then if it is found legit, then it would be forwarded to our required component. Istio actually helps in providing a kind of configuration to this whole envoy proxies network, so and routing the traffic to the further to the another envoy proxy until it finds the required destination, until it reaches to its the required destination. So Istio extend Kubernetes using CRDs. So to apply Kubernetes configurations, we will write and deploy our .yaml files and apply it to Kubernetes, which will then later be received by the Istio gallery, which will validate our request, and then finally Galkey. So which will proceed, which will forward our request to the Istio pilot. Then after pilot actually will helps in converting these .yaml file into the configuration files to each and every proxy in our whole network. in case we want to set up various different policies, rules for our components and envoy proxies, then we will file all of them through the envoy policy, which will pass all the information about the request that has been accepted by the by the structure, by the application, and then the result of all of these checks to the Istio telemetry. Then comes our Istio Citadel component, which is responsible for providing the address to each and every proxy and component in our application, so that the mutual TLS can be performed for the encryption of all the messages and requests, transferring from one component to the another component in our structure. Then comes our gateway component of our application, which is responsible for tracking all the incoming and outgoing HTTP incoming and outgoing requests in our pod. And then the virtual services, which helps in tracking and routing of all the requests from the gateway to the required component of our microservice and of our pod. And the logic is being moved outside of the control plane and into the proxies through the Istio policies and the Istio telemetry, to avoid any additional network hops in our application, to improve the performance and efficiency at the end. And then comes our service mesh. Actually, the all the components in our pod have certain policies, rules, which has to be checked before any particular request enters into our component, into any of our component of our structure. And once that request passes all the tests and the policies, then it usually have the accessibility to our whole pod without any further security checks, and that can be harmful for our application. And thus internal configuration is also required in case of big applications and really important ones, although these smaller applications doesn't require that much security, so thus it can proceed with the general structure. And thus Istio comes into play here, where it lays out the additional internal configuration amongst all the components of our pod and the components. Actually, the structure we have taken in the previous slide was a traditional one, and thus we doesn't have all these components like Istio Galkey, Istio Pilot, Istio Policies, Telemetry, etc. Instead, we have a combined Istio control plane, which is known as the Istio D, which takes care of which helps in setting up all proxies with our components in our architecture, like this. So it helps in automating the process of setting up the envoy proxies with our components of our the application, and helping in cutting shorting the time that has to be given by a software engineer or developer in a project for setting up the whole architecture and the non-business logic as well for the application. And thus, in this way, Istio can be a really nice tool for helping even a newbie can takes control over the application and get rid of all the setting up of non-business logic, and producing the maximum efficiency and the product out of your application. Then at the last, we have the Istio Day, which would be organized on the 19th of April in Paris. So in case you want to be a part of this amazing initiative by the Istio in KubeCon, you can be a part of it and register through the KubeCon official website. That's the whole schedule of it. So I hope you get to know about the whole project a bit. It is my first time for this, for making this face cam video as well, and the whole detailed project. I'll be attaching my detailed blog along with this video in the description, or at least in the comments afterwards. If you do have any feedback for me, obviously you would be having a lot about this whole video, so just comment about the whole feedback. And in case anyone from the Istio Service Mesh team want to communicate with me to discuss about the future projects, I would love to know about the new features and the new projects which will be coming in the in the future. And also if I might have gone wrong onto some topic in this whole video, then please feel free to correct me. I would love to know them and correct myself as well. So yeah, thanks.